We're going to start with the take-home homework first, which is the identifying the topics and controlling ideas based on the topic sentence, which is to highlight most easy, simple. So I hope you get to do it. This is quite simple and easy. Let's start off with the first one, the topic. This first one, the topic would be straightforward, which is the one that is the painting Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. It's the topic of the sentence. The painting is technically the topic, the main idea, not the main idea, the topics. But in this case, they just provide extra elaboration, which is the painting by this person and how the author gonna talk about this painting is fascinating in many ways would be the controlling idea. So after reading this, you're gonna see that the author possibly wanted to say like how this painting is interesting in different ways. And then number two, my first driving lessons was a disaster. So the topic would be my first driving lesson. And was a disaster would be the controlling idea. The word disaster in this case, it's means like it's just went bad. Normally we hear the word disaster with the word like natural disaster, like floods, tornado with that. However, we can use the word disaster to explain when like something like really bad happened. So in this case would be like the first driving lesson, just like, oh God, it's bad. It's turned out bad. Something is wrong. And then number three, the process of getting driver license. And that would be the topic. This one would talk about the process. So definitely the controlling would be about like, okay, this process has several steps in this sense. Next one topic would be my ability to speak English. My ability to speak English would be the topic. And the controlling idea would be something like, it has changed my life in several important ways. So in this case would be the topic would be like in like speaking English. And in this context, the author want to talk about how speaking English changed his life or her life or their lives in many different perspectives. Number five, some computer games. That would be the topic. Controlling idea would be involve the player in many physical activities. So in this sense, talk about the topic would be computer games and the controlling idea would be focusing on explaining how this can affect how this related to physical activities, physically only. And the last one, cloudy weather affects certain people in negative way. The topic would be cloudy weather. And the other which should talk about how this affect people in the negative aspect. So that would be the controlling idea for the first one. So as you can see, it's quite simple when you see the topic is that you start, a lot of people when they write topic sentence, they often start with the topic and follow by with the controlling ideas. However, your choice, you can follow this this step, or let's say this method of start with the topic and follow by the controlling idea, or another method would be start with the controlling idea and follow by with the topics. That is okay as well. But I think many people find it easier to write a topic sentence by start with the topic and following by the controlling idea. It's just clear and simple and easy to compose a topic sentence. However, at the end of the day, either way is correct. It's just the other styles writing. Hope everybody gets it right. And anybody have any questions? So when you write topic sentence, normally it's just like quite simple, is that just talk about the topics and then followed by with the controlling ideas. No need for elaborations or explanations, because the explanation should be the sentence, the next sentence, the following sentence, which would be located under supporting sentence section. And moving on to this one, identify the unrelated sentence. So under this one, let's take like 2 minutes. Hopes everybody get to do it. Okay, let's maybe take 3. Let's type your answer. Type your answer because we have a lot. So instead of calling your name, so it would be, I think it would be easier just like let everybody type the answer for this homework. Let's take 3 minutes here, maybe a quick read and type the answer. Which sentence or sentences, which is the unrelated one? Which one do you think is not related to the concept, to the topic? Definitely. Yes, the answer would be sentence number 7. Actually, the answer is actually everybody get it right, but the correct answer is that there are 2 unrelated sentence, which is sentence 7 and 8, not just 7. But yes, 7 is part of it. Okay, let's start from the top. Sentence number 1 would definitely clearly, you're gonna see that it starts with California is a state with every type of geography. So this would be the topic sentence. Start with the topic, which is California. And is a state with every type of geography would be the controlling idea, saying that there are many types of geography. And you will see that the details inside, which is sentence number 2 to number 8, sentence from 2 to 8. Okay, 2 to 8 here. Okay, let's say part of this would be the supporting sentence, which provide details of every type of geography. And if we keep reading, you're gonna see that sentence like 2, they say that there is a mountains where you can enjoy winters So one of the type of geography is like the land type, how's, you know, the different type of land or environment. So we have the first one would be mountains area. Sentence number 3 would be deserts. Sentence 4, which is explain about beach where you can surf and swim and fish. Sentence 5, forest area, which definitely one type of geography. Sentence number 6, finally, it's a farmland. So number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 definitely explain the different type of geography. And yes, sentence number 7, which is the one that we should remove because it's not related to the geography. It's tend to be like tourist attractions, which not something that we expect in the geography. That's why 7 is not related. However, another sentence that we would call that's not related would be sentence number 8. Another one is that because if you read number 8, you're going to see that they say that this is a popular place to live, or so many people move here. So this sentence like this, yes, it can be included, but since the topic sentence talk about like there is every type of geography, so the detail technically should talk about the details or the informations about geography. But saying something like this is a popular place, that's why people would like to move here. This is more like, you know, saying that people move here, why people move here, which is not exactly directly connect or related to the different type of geography. Maybe if you wish to add something like this, it can be like, you know, at the very end, which is like final comments. So it can be like after the conclusions. But normally, if we want something to be exactly, you know, related, something not out of the box, so we will probably remove sentence 7 and 8. And for sentence number 9, if you read sentence number 9, it's similar to sentence number 1. Sentence number 9 here is the concluding sentence. So this one is concluding sentence. And with concluding sentence, you're going to see that it's composed of the topic, which is, again, repeat the idea of California. However, when we provide concluding sentence, we provide a summary. But in summary, this case would be a summary. So it's going to be topics. And again, main idea. So we provide a summary, specific summaries. So main idea here, what is main idea? Main idea is technically the key thing you mentioned. So the key thing here is like, you know, the type of geography. So this making this one, the main idea here is like, it has it all, mountain, deserts, beach, forest, and farms. So the main idea are the word mountain, desert, beach, forest, and farms are the main idea of this. Main idea, technically, it's like the key thing that you provide to support the support your topics. That's we call main idea, the key things. But yes, definitely under each main idea, you might have like some kind of explanation. Like as you can see, like one of the main idea is mountains, and then maybe some extra elaborations that link to mountain. That is okay as well. So you can provide explanation to the mountain to the main idea as well, and that would be for the supporting sentence. In this sense, it's focusing on how, in terms of the content, in terms of the supporting information when you provide in your paragraph, make sure everything related to your topic would be the best. Last but not least, concluding sentence. So this one's simple. So let's take the answer from the class again. What do you think? What would be the answer? A, B, or C? Let's type the answer in the chat box. Great. And definitely yes, the answer. Okay. Based on this one, you will see that the first one, the first sentence, would be the topic sentence, which this one is a little bit different than the one that you've seen before. This is the topic sentence that start with a controlling ideas and followed by topics, because it starts with there are two reasons. So when you mention the controlling idea, you can mention like based on like how many main idea you're gonna talk about. So this one is like two reasons. So the two, you can say like two reasons, many reasons, three reasons. That is okay as well when you explain about the controlling ideas. So we know that in this case, it's going to be about the reasons, and there's going to be two reasons. Two reasons why I love the big cities, and big city would be topics. So this is how you can construct a topic sentence by start with the controlling idea first, and then follow by with the topic. Another option. And as you read along in the paragraph, you will see that there are two main reasons being discussed. And to make it easy for the audience and for you as well, in order to organize your informations, you will see signal words like the word first of all. And when moving to the second reasons, you can start with something like the word like seconds, or you can go with like in additions. So you can use all of those connectors, transition words to provide a signal to the audience that you are moving from one ideas to the others. So in the sense, first idea being start with the word first of all, and then introduce the first reasons why I love big city is that because it is alive 24 hours. So alive 24 hour definitely would be the main idea. So this is the first one. And as you can see, when you present the main idea, you need to provide elaboration. You need to provide explanation as well. You cannot just present the main idea. Yes, you can just present the main idea. However, if you want, more of full score, you need to provide explanation as well. The reason why you need to present explanation is that you need to explain like why living or having like 24/7 is a good thing. This thing, when you read in English, it read 24/7. We don't say 24/7, we say 24/7. So when you read. So after that, you're gonna see that the sentence follows. You're gonna see like you can eat, you can go shopping. You can go shopping, see movie, exercise, get to the gym, do something to eat. This is all day and night. So this is technically why being alive 24/7 is a good thing. So the explanation to the first main idea. And then moving on to the second one, the easiest way to move from one main idea to another is to provide transition words. So in the sense would be provide the logical signal words, which is use the word seconds to introduce the second idea. I love the big city because of their amenities. So amenities would be the second main idea. So this is technically another one. And when if you keep reading, so you're gonna see that the author provide elaboration as well, explanations why being anonymity is a good thing. So the author said that you're gonna completely was invisible in big cities. Nobody gonna watch your dailies coming or goings. Neighbor don't bother you as long as you don't bother them. So technically, like, yeah, you can stay alone and nobody cares, and you don't need to care with a lot of people. So that would be a good thing. So I just think that there are two reasons here being presented, being explained in this paragraph. And when you provide concluding sentence, you need to summarize all main ideas. So with all main idea, you can see that for A, it's just one of it. I love big city because of the independent, which is just one of it, which is not two. There are two main reasons. And then B is like big city attract me because there are so many things to do. So definitely this is a summary of the first main idea, which is not complete because we need to summarize two main idea, which is definitely would be answer C, which is summarize from main idea one, which is the energy would be the 24/7. And anonymity is definitely straightforward from the second main idea. When you provide a summary, the main idea, you can use the same exact word that you mentioned in the paragraph, or you can use synonyms. Same words, synonyms, up to you. But make sure that if you change the word, if you use synonyms, make sure you select the new word or the new phrase that give or reflects the same meanings. Or if in that time you feel like you cannot come up with a new word, so you can just stick with the same words. Like this one, they just take the word anonymity from the paragraph and put it in the conclusions, and that's okay. So C would be the answer. Everybody get it right? Thank God. Okay. Anybody have any questions? So moving on. This is just example, so I think we can ignore this. I don't think you have this in your slides. You can already remove it. So now we're gonna move on from paragraph to the essay. Okay, start off with this. To start off with, as you can see, this with this picture is that I just want to provide like explanation is that in terms of like when you write a paragraph at the end of the day, a paragraph can turn into an essay. A paragraph for some can be viewed like a shorter versions because it's just one paragraph. That's why we feel just one shorter version of your explanations. However, the essay would be the extended the long version of your details, of your topics, of your explanation. And as you can see, the topic sentence would, when you provide topic sentence, it's like provide intro. So this one, your topic sentence would be expand to the extended version, which is the introduction paragraph. And each details, the supporting sentence would be explain further, which is in the body paragraph. And the last one, concluding sentence, would be extended to the conclusion paragraph. So for the paragraph, as you can see, for the paragraph, it's just one paragraph here. So this is just one paragraph. And when you see the paragraph version, you're going to be like, it's probably not that long. It's going to be like half a page or definitely less than a page. But when it's an essay, it can be half a page or longer than that. But when you explain something, it's going to be more details. Because for the essay, you're going to have one paragraph, especially provide intro, some background to the topic first. And then for each main idea, you're going to kind of explain it in details. So, and in the conclusion, you provide a proper longer versions of your summary. So at the end of the day, for essay, you definitely would have at least one intro. You're going to have at least one body paragraph and at least one conclusion. So a definite thing is that for essay, you're going to have at least, you will have at least 3 paragraphs. That is minimum, which is, I would say, like the shorter versions. However, I believe in your context now, you are graduate students, you probably explain more things, have more details to talk about, which is why at the end of the day, you might end up with more than 3 paragraphs. You not just have 3, you might have like 4, 5, 6. And when you have like 4, 5, 6 here, the number of paragraph is technically going to have more body paragraph. You definitely would have one intro, one conclusions, and maybe 2, 3, 4 body paragraph. Who knows? The number of body paragraph depend on you, how you decide it. Or some would say like it's depend on the questions or depend on the requirements. Sometimes if you take like English exam, writing exam, they say that you have to write 500 words or you have to write 400 words. So if it's like, okay, maybe 250 words for IELTS, if you're taking IELTS writings, you have to write about 250 words, which is you might end up with having like at least 2 or 3 body paragraph in order to help you reaching the minimum requirement. So the number of body paragraph depend on the requirements. If you are taking exams or if you have requirement to follow, or another way would be depend on you. If you want to explain something in details, or if there are a lot of things to explain, you might have more paragraph than expected. But definitely, at the end of the day, it's always start with 3. Okay, moving on from that, now we're gonna move to the essay structures, which is I'm gonna start with the introductions. The different type of ways that you can include in your introductions. Definitely the idea of writing your introductions would be the idea of general to specific style, the upside down funnel. So this one we call upside down funnels. So as I think a lot of you know this, that when we write intro, we tend to start with something broad and then try to narrow it down into the point, to the specific point that you want to discuss. And with that, upside down funnels, or start with broad thing to something specific thing, we call general to specific styles. And yes, we do have like specific to general style as well, but let's say most of the time, I think a lot of authors and writers prefer the general to specific. But yes, in some case, you can apply specific to generals. However, like the technique of specific to general is like you need to start with like if you are giving topics, you need to start with like a certain case study, something like very specific things about that topic, which is for some people, it feel like it's not exactly easy to come up, or some people feel like it's not exactly provide enough background information to the audience, which is why general to specific style often more common in writing the introductions. And in writing the introduction, there are different ways to start off with that. Okay. Anyway, first of all, when you write the introduction, there are three things we often include in the intro. The first thing called hook, second thing called background information, the third thing is thesis statement. Three things to include in your intro. The first thing is the hooks, or some would say like a statement. It can be one sentence or it can be several sentences, up to you, your choice. Something to make your reader interest, motivate them to read your writing technically. So with the hook, there are many ways, many methods to start with the hooks. The first one is start with what we call general statements. So when you are given the topics, the technique of general statement is that you start with something like facts, a broad facts, general knowledge about that topic that you going to write about. For example, let's say in this case, I'm gonna write about traditional school. Let's say like why it is worth or important to send a child to traditional school. So this is just example. So with the technique of general statement, I might start with like because I can write about going to traditional school. So I might start with like technology developments because it can link with education, with school, or parental styles with like if they prefer this, they prefer that, they think about this. So at the end of the day, I can link it to traditional school. Or as you can see, like I wrote like educational system, educational developments, or child developments. So all of these things are something that, as you can see, some way, somehow you can link to traditional school. The idea of general statement is that when you are given a topic, and to start with a broad statement, you try to come up with things that relate to your topics, something that relate to your topics, or something that general knowledge, general statement about your topic, but not exactly straightforward, write about your topic like traditional school. You might start with like something related, like in this case, like educational system in the country, in the world. So, and then you can move it down, narrow it down to your goal, which is talking about traditional school. There are other things as well that you can mention. This is just examples that I come up. You can talk about learning preference of a child, or some people would say like child's development. I already wrote that. Or raising kids or something like that. You can start with that as well. So because at the end of the day, I think you can link all of those things to traditional school. That would be the first way to start the introduction. Second way is often used in research writing because it's come with concrete evidence, which is presents or start your intro with statistics. numbers, percentage, some kind of ratios, a strong hard evidence. I think a lot of you have seen that when you read research paper and in the introductions, a lot of authors tend to include some kind of numbers in the intro, because when you read the number, you can feel like, you know, you can feel the problems. Like this is like big one, this is the big problem because the number is super high, or okay, this is a scary thing because the number is super low. So with number, it's kind of create emotions, affects emotions, because it's provide a strong evidence, and not just strong, but like concrete one where you just see the number. So another thing apart from the number is that when you provide the number, please provide interpretation as well. Explain about the number. Apart from provide the number, I would suggest talk about what it's mean as well. The reasons that I've said that what it's meaning of the number, because sometimes when you present the number and you say something like in this one, they say like in United States, in the US in 2006, 4,784 pedestrians were killed in the traffic accidents. So if you are US citizen, you might say like, this is like, okay, it's not that high number, but because there are like a lot of people. So this might be not high, but if you are, let's say, Thai people, you might think like this is a high number. So the reason that it would be better to provide meanings or some kind of interpretation to the number is that in order, it would help to prevent misunderstanding. Because sometimes like this kind of number from one context or one background, it might means low. But in another context, it might mean high, which is a bad number. But if you don't say that, some people would, you know, they might say like, okay, this is low. But your intent actually would want to say or reflect that this is a bad thing, which is why when you provide the number, provide some kind of interpretation as well. Like this is bad, this is good, or saying that this is good, bad, this is increasing, this is decreasing, would be a great thing. Like, okay, something like increase, the number shows increase, the number shows decrease. The number mean good or bad. Don't write the word good or bad. Okay, in research writing, no. Something like, but you know, say something like, okay, this is a concrete. Say something like, pick another word. We don't write the word good or bad in the introductions for research writing. But okay, I hope you understand. Say something like, okay, this is a strong evidence, would be better. Use another word. Good, the word good, explain the number as good, or say the number is bad. We don't say that. We don't do that in research writing. But just for you to understand. Provide explanation, whether it's increase, decrease, a good number, a bad number, or this is shows high or low, that is okay as well. For the number, for the statistic, when you provide, it can be the number for a specific time or like the trend. That is either all, up to you. So the number here can be a specific number or trend. That's up to you. Sometimes you might pick the number from specific time, like this one is like 2006, that is okay. Or you can pick a number from like 2006 until 2008. That is okay as well. Another thing about the number is that this is especially when you include the number in the introductions. If you include the number, evidence, number, or stats in your introduction, this number should be somehow most update, most up to date as much as possible. Yes, I know most up to date, it can be like number from last year. However, if it's the last year number is not out yet, it can be like before that. But when we say like most up to date, it would be like information within the 5 year. So let's say today is 2025. Yeah, no, 2026. So most up-to-date number, let's say if I'm gonna use like traffic accident number, it should be the number that come from 2000 to 2021, right? Yeah, to 2026. That would be, so number from 2021 on 2026 would be considered update. Older than that, too old. Especially in the introductions you need to pick the most up-to-date number. The 5 year gap would be most preferred. The reason why is that because one thing about writing research, okay, definitely for master doctoral student is that when you do research, you take some time to write. you take some time to do it. So you write your intro today, 2026. However, when you finish, some people might finish like 2 years after or 5 years after this. So who knows? So when it published out there, it might be, quite the number, it might be old. So that's why it should be as up to date as possible. The informations, okay, I'm not information, so I'm sorry. So the statistic, definitely, especially any statistic or any number that you include in the introductions should be within the 5 year gap, would be great. And this would apply to reference as well, especially for the intro. So this would be okay. Maybe a little bit jumped a little bit to introductions. When you write the introductions for your research, statistic may keep it 5 years. And this include any reference that you provide to support, like the argument, the point that you made in your introduction as well. 5 year would be recommended. So let's say like sometime when you write like the disease go up, or this there's a lot of people affected by the disease, or this and that, or a lot of people shows disagree. These kind of arguments or this kind of support or that you provide, reference that you provide in your intro, try to keep those reference be something like the 5 year gap as well. You need to select the one that is 5 years, because we consider that we try to select like the most up-to-date source as possible for the intro. For other section, it can be old. It can be older than that. But for the intro, it would be best to select the source that is the most up-to-date as possible, or at least 70 to 80% of your source for your introduction should be, 5 years. Yes, it can be a little bit more than that. But when we say like little bit more than that for the intro, it would be something like not more than 10 years. Try to keep like 10 is already a lot. That's why it can be, except you mentioned about the theory that invent 20 years ago. And yes, you might have a reference that 20 years ago, that it's okay. Like one reference from 20 years ago, because it's provide a source to the theory, that is okay. However, when you write introductions, try to select a source that is most up to date. Maybe 70 to 80%, something that published within the 5-year gaps. But if it's not possible, yes, you can extend to a little bit older, but I would say that keep it no more than 10 years. By counting from the year that you start writing your introduction. That would be great. And then moving on. Another ways, the next way to start your introduction is that start off your intro by state the definitions of something, of the subject, of the topics. Or for some people, I've seen that like some people study about certain disease like symptoms. So they might start with like a symptom of certain disease. That is one way. Or the effects of certain disease. So that's one way. So one way to start a topic, start a intro, is start with definitions of your topic. It can be what it's mean, how it's happened, or how it's caused. Yeah. The reason that some people start the intro with definition, because definition would create a scope, the frame of how this happened. And for some would be like, it's provide a common understanding. Some people feel like, okay, these things, let's say definitions to the word global warming. Everybody knows about global warming. However, some would feel like I want my audience to feel and to know exactly for exact and understand it. That's why some authors start off the writing with the meaning of global warming. Or some people might choose to start with the definition because the author feel like a lot of people know about this, but not exactly know about this. Like the topic about GMO, genetic modified food. Some people know about it, but not exactly clearly know about this. That's why some author or some researchers start with the definitions of that topic for their intro. Or in some research, you can come up with seeing words like organizational citizenship behaviors, which is probably not familiar with for people not in the business. So yeah, why not start with this? So this is a choice for you if you feel like your topics is something like people know about it, but not exactly clearly know about it, or people not you as an author feel like I don't think my audience know about this. So yes, you can start the intro with providing definitions at your introduction. Another ways that you probably seen is that the fourth one would be start off your intro with questions. To start off your intro with questions, I would say you can you can do this in your class assignments, in your presentations, but in research writing, you probably don't see this. I don't so far I've never seen anybody start their introduction with questions. However, if you do like some kind of like presentation or essay, like English proficiency test, yes, you can start off your intro with questions. That's okay. Or a class assignments, that's okay. Or maybe a blog, that's okay. But research writings, probably not. And if you choose to start off with the questions, I would suggest to ask like 1 or 2 questions, but that's all. No longer than that. We just use this trick to make it interesting. So we don't need a lot of questions. We just 1 or 2 questions is enough. However, if you take like exams, English exam, like writing English exams, when I say start with a question, it's not mean that you copy the questions and write down. No, you ask a different questions, not the one that you need to answer. Okay, maybe something related to your topic that you can go into write, something that interesting to ask, or maybe something that so basic that okay as well. The question normally we're gonna write like at the beginning. So 1 or 2, no more than 3 lines. 3 lines. If it's in writing, I would say like less than 3 lines would be okay. Longer than that, it would be a too long questions. Another ways which probably interesting, it can be applied in any type of writings. You might see this in research writing, but not that much, which is start off your writing in the intro by tell a story, talk about experience, or start off with the news or with some event that happened to the world, to the countries. That's okay. Or yeah, you can see like in some, let's say like if it's like one of those English writing tests, yeah, you can start the intro with a story that relate to the questions, not just any story. If the questions ask about, okay, let's say questions talk about natural disaster, maybe you start off the intro with tsunami. That's okay. That's okay. Uh, that is okay. But in research writing, I don't think a lot of people start off with it. But yeah, you can try. I don't think that's no bad choice. You can try. And when you start your writing with a story, with experience, retell about your experience, talk about the news of events, make sure you write it using past simple tense. Normally, when you write exam, you answer the questions for writing test, you use present tense. But if you recall something that already happened, which is like recall a story, recall an experience, make sure you write those in past simple tense. Use past simple. Stick with the simple one. Don't need to be like past continuous. No, just past simple. That's all. And or another one which is interesting. Uh, some people use in research writing, but not that much. But in other type, you might see it's more often, which is start with the introduction with the quotations, with some famous quote, famous sentence, famous phrase, form, famous people in that field or relate to the topic that you're going to write. The quote is mean like you copy the sentence, the exact word, the exact sentence from that person and write it. And when you write the quote, make sure that you say something like who say this sentence, who mentioned this word, as well as like when it's being mentioned. Einstein saying this thing in 18 something. I don't know when I was born. Sorry. So that's my rule. And the next one, the next one, it's called, the next method called paradox. This method, the last one, I don't see it in research writing, but let's say if you take like a writing, when you tell a story, when you present, or when you answer in the writing test for like English proficiency, you might start your intro with paradox. The technique of paradox, technically, it's often the technique of paradox, it's often related to the questions that ask you to pick something between the two choices. So like this one, I provide example is that the question say that maybe the question say something like longer versions. Shorter version is like choosing between traditional school or homeschool, giving you a choice and you need to choose. You need to choose traditional school or homeschool. Again, before you write your intro, you need to read the questions and you need to, come up with the answer. And in this case, like you need to choose first. So let's say that with this question, choosing between traditional school or homeschool, I'm gonna go with homeschool. This is my choice. So the idea of paradox is that you will start your introduction with the thing, with the option that you are not choosing. Again, the technique of paradox is that you choose the thing that you are, the technique of paradox is that you start with the thing that you are not choosing. Like this one, I choose to write about homeschool. So my intro, my starter, gonna be about traditional school. It can be like the negative things about traditional school, like say that traditional schools, a lot of students go there and it can have problems of bullying, which is, this is bad, that is why homeschool is better. So somehow when you link to that positive things and you say that, because the opposite side has this positive, the opposite side has this negative, which is why my choice is better. So homeschool is better. So negative thing of the opposite side, and then back to that's why choosing my choice better. Or you can say you can start out with the positive thing as well, saying that, okay, positive thing is that traditional school have variety of subjects. However, homeschool the subjects are tailored. The subjects are tailored to the learner, which is more beneficial. So saying that the opposite side has this good, but my choice, my point, the choice that I choose, better. It's just better. It's good, but better than that. So that is what called paradox. It would be, I think it would be like suitable to the question that you need to choose something. And the paradox is that you start with the option that you're not choosing. You can start with the negative thing or positive things, either or. And you say that even though with that, my choice is better. So that's why we call it paradox. So from 1 to 7 here, they are the choice of opening, the styles that you can choose to use in your intro. There's no, I would not say like which one is better, because sometimes it's depend on you. Many times, most of the time it's depend on you. Some people prefer start off with the question because you are great at come up with questions. So this is your thing. Some people might prefer start off with the general statement because this is your thing. So from 1 to 7, I would say that for the style that you're gonna select, it's gonna be depend on the topic that you're going to write and depend on you. But if this technique you are familiar with, that is okay. If you're not familiar, prefer, and you can go with another technique that is okay as well. And from 1 to 7 here, you can just select one choice, or you can go with 2. That is okay as well. So what I mean with 2 is that your intro can combine between statistic and general statement. That is okay. You don't have to just stick with one general statement. You can combine 2 styles together. That is okay as well. 2 style or 3 style together. That is okay. That is your choice. You can decide it. And this would be for the hook. It can be one sentence. It can be like couples, like 2 to 3 sentence. That is okay. If it's an essay, if it's research, definitely not just couple sentence. It's probably a paragraph. That's why you might consider combine the styles together. And the next sections after hook would be background information. For some topics, you might want to give some background, some details about, your topic before going down in details about what you're going to write. Background information normally it's like provide generals or general statement about the topic that you're going to talk about. However, this one would be optional. The reason I said optional because if you are hooked, you choose the definition styles. So definition and background would be the same thing. So if you already mentioned the definition in the hook, maybe you can ignore the background information section for your intro. Or for some topic, you feel like it's very common. A lot of people know about this. You don't need to explain about it. You don't want to waste your time on this thing. It's okay. You can just ignore this one and move to the thesis, which is for this one, for the introduction, hook is definitely a must. Background information would be optional. Thesis statement, this is a must. If you're writing an essay, thesis statement is the verb. We need this. This is the most important thing in the essay. Writing an essay, this is the most important thing because thesis statement provide overview to your essay. So yes, you heard the word overview before from the idea of topic sentence. So that's why I provide the reference of the meaning at the top. So thesis statement, I use abbreviation T/S. So for thesis statements, it's provide overview for the whole essay. However, topic sentence provide overview of a paragraph. So that one paragraph, the overview of it is the topic sentence. However, overview of the whole essay, which is might have 4 paragraph, 2 paragraph, 5 paragraph, who knows? The overview would be concluded by the thesis statement. Thesis statement and topic sentence doing the same job. Not the same, sorry, doing similar job, which is provide overview. But thesis statement would be a broader, bigger scope. So the whole thing. However, topic sentence is just for one that certain paragraph only. Similar jobs, not the same. And as you can see, thesis statements composed of topic and controlling idea. Yes, it's the same thing all over again. Thesis statement would compose of the topic and controlling ideas, but controlling idea in this case and the topic in this case would be the one that covered the whole essay. So we give them the different name by calling them thesis statements. And the thesis statement here would be, we're going to put it in the last sentence in your intro. So before ending your intro, we're going to put thesis statement, what you're going to talk about. And with the thesis statement, we divide into two types. The first type called direct, the second one called indirect thesis statement. Direct thesis statement and indirect thesis statement. So in this case, the one that provides the list of topics, subtopic or subdivisions, it's called direct thesis statement, or technically it's like the one that provide topic and main ideas. This is the direct thesis statement. And the one that provide indicate patterns is the one that provide that say topic and controlling ideas. Would be indirect thesis statement. So below here, from 1 to from short example 1 to example 3 would be the example of thesis of indirect thesis statement, which is, it's kind of simple. Number 1, Native Americans. Native Americans have made many valuable contributions to the modern U.S. culture. So you're going to see that the topic would be Native Americans. And the rest have made many contributions to the modern U.S. culture would be controlling ideas. Topic. Moving on to number 2, young people from my culture have less freedom than young people in the US. So the topic would be young people, and controlling idea would be how they have less freedom than young people in the US. Or number 3, looking for the topic would be large movement of people from rural to urban area. This would be the topic. Controlling idea would be has effects on the cities. Has major effects on cities. So yes, it look like a topic sentence, but this thing gonna be like, details for the whole essay. Or technically we would say that this would be, technically, if you've seen this thing, you can somehow expect that the body paragraph would talk about, like, for number 3, large movement of people from rural to urban has major effects on city. So you can expect that in the body paragraph, it would talk about effects on the major effects, how the effect from the movement. So this is provide an overview of the essay. So we know that the body paragraph probably talk about the effects in terms of service, in terms of infrastructures, this and that. So for indirect thesis statement, topic and controlling ideas, no need to specify the specific things. This is one way. However, some people might want to be details. So you might go for the options of direct thesis statements. Some people prefer direct thesis statement because they feel like it's clear. It just gives the audience a clear idea of what you're going to write, simple and clear. Like this one, again, These three choices, it's exactly the same from the three example from the previous slides. The first one talk about Native American as well. However, if you read, Native American have made many valuable contributions to the modern U.S. culture, particularly in the areas of language, art, food, and government. So the difference that you see is that if it's direct thesis statement, it's just from the word Native American and made contribution to U.S. cultures, and that's all. However, if it's direct, it need to specify this, specify the details, the main idea, what you're gonna talk about in this case. Like in this question, in this examples would be in terms of contributions, right? So what contributions that being mentioned? And the contribution here is contributions in terms of language, in terms of art, in terms of foods, in terms of government, which means that the author gonna explain how it changes in terms of language, how the contribution made in art, in food, in government. And simple as that is that. So with this is language is shows as the first one. So the audience can expect like the details about language probably in body paragraph 1. Art probably shows in body paragraph 2. Food would be body paragraph 3, and government would be in body paragraph 4. So by state what you're gonna mention, the main idea, it's give clear directions to your audience as well, that okay, I'm gonna mention 4 things, and these are the 4. And the first thing I'm gonna talk about is art. And the same as question 2. Again, question 2 is like the topic idea with controlling idea is like has less freedoms. So with direct thesis statements, you probably need to say like less freedom in what aspect, in what perspective. And in this one, they say that being a direct thesis statement is that in terms of in their choice of where they live, whom they marry, and what their job is. So the 3 things. So less freedom based on this 3. So you mentioned what you can explain. And for the last one, large movements, which is cause many effects, major effects on cities. Being a direct thesis statement, you need to mention what are the effects. So the effect here would be in terms of the city ability to provide housings, employment, and sanitation service. So you think that based on this one, the author gonna talk about 3 effects, and we can expect that the first effect that I'm gonna talk about is about ability to provide housings, and then employment in the second body paragraph, and the third body paragraph gonna be sanitation service. So this would be direct thesis statement. If you feel like you can choose this third path as well. It just gives a clear directions of what you're going to write. But if in that writing you feel like you're not sure what you're going to include in the detail yet, or maybe you might change your mind, yes, you can go for the indirect thesis statement. Either or are great, up to you. Here are just another examples of thesis statement, which is the indirect thesis statement here. The topic for this one is like when buying a car, there are 4 strategies. With indirect thesis statement, you can mention like many, you can go with quantity words, like words that shows many or several, or if you know how many things that you're gonna mention, like this one is like 4 strategies, so you just mention 4. Or another example is like there are several differences. So the controlling idea is like there are several differences between nurse practitioners and a physician assistant. The topic is nurse practitioner and physician assistant. So like this one is go with quantitative, like several differences, because it gave the audience some clue that yeah, you're gonna talk about several things, not just one differences, several differences. Okay. Thesis statement must write sentence. It's just gonna be one when you write introductions. For hook here, must, and this is a must as well. This for thesis statement, this is gonna be a last sentence in the intro. Okay. Make sure you have both of it. For the background informations, your option, your choice. If you want to include some kind of background information, technically, like maybe you provide definition, maybe provide some elaboration about the topics, what it's means, how it's come up. So background, this is your choice whether you can include background information or not, because some topic it might be quite general already, so you might not need to include, or you sometimes you feel like you don't want to spend your time you're writing in this one, so yes, you can ignore. This is your choice to make. But the first one, the hook and the thesis statement, would be a definite things that you should include in writing the introduction for essay. And for the next ones, this one I would leave as a take-home homework. Again, have a look at this introduction paragraph and identify the hook, background, and thesis statement of this intro. Short, simple, and we will go through it tomorrow. Anybody have any questions? So far. If you don't have any questions, I'm gonna take a break first. Let's take a 15-minute break, and we will be back at 7:40. Okay, now let's move on to this one take some time to do it tonight, and we will go through it tomorrow. The next things after the introduction would be the body paragraph. The structure of the body paragraph would follow the same structure, which is in each body paragraph, which is exactly like what you've seen in the paragraph structure is that when you, for each body paragraph, you should always start with the topic sentence and then followed by with those supporting sentence. And for the conclusion sentence, I think you can ignore it. Ignore it. It's mean like you cannot choose not to write the concluding sentence since because concluding sentence would be suit if you write like one paragraph, but since you're going to have several paragraphs and details still somehow connecting, and you're gonna have a proper summary in the conclusion paragraph anyway. So that's why the concluding sentence can be ignored. So for each paragraph, the easiest way to, when you divide the body paragraph, this is your choice, but since we're in the level of like you can go with several, you can choose to write several paragraphs. So I would definitely recommend you to divide your details. You divide your explanations into several paragraphs. It would be better than having just one big long paragraph. Having several paragraphs actually would be better in terms of readings or writing. In terms of the writing, is that when you have different or several paragraphs, you can properly divide things, like maybe the body paragraph one focusing on one main idea one, and then body paragraph two focusing on the next main idea. So having many paragraphs, you can better divide your, in details. And for the audience, it's like give them a break because having a long paragraph, it's a lot of things to absorb. So it would be better to divide things into different, many paragraphs. In terms of dividing your detail in several or many paragraphs, you will see is like, let's say the guideline on how to divide your paragraph in the academic writing too, when we go through different type of essay, which is when you see different type of essay, you will like see like the guideline. Let's say, okay, if you're gonna write compare contrast, this is how you can choose two paragraphs. But normally the most basic things, if you write a paragraph, is that when you want to introduce several details, several details, several key main idea, the easiest and simple way is that for each paragraph, you write one main idea. You write about one thing. And if you want to go to the next thing, shift to the next paragraph. That would be the easiest one. Whatever relate to each other or super close to each other, it would be better to combine them to the same paragraph. So one thing to be cautioned is that when you divide things into different paragraphs, it means that you're gonna write something that totally or is different, 95% different from the previous one. So make sure that when you go through many paragraphs, in those many paragraphs of yours, you're not going to repeat something again and again. The details, in terms of the explanation, you're not going to repeat the explanations, because if you repeat explanations, normally people would feel like it's not different thing. It's feel like it's the same thing. And if it's the same thing, it would be better to combine together instead of dividing into different paragraphs. So I have like 1 minute if the main idea is closely related. One main idea per one body paragraph. And yes, it is possible that in one body paragraph, you might include several main idea. It is possible, like if you write an essay about positive and negative things, So for body paragraph 1, you might have two main idea about the positive. And then body paragraph 2, you might have two main idea about the negative that is possible. So again, the most common type of writing is that one main idea per one paragraph. However, if you write like several like positive and negative things, so you might in that one paragraph of positive, you might have 2 or 3 positive. So it is possible as well to have more than one main idea in one body paragraph. It is possible as well. So it's kind of depend on the type of essay you deliver. So we will go through them tomorrow. And the last star is that I wrote the word equal balance of body paragraph. Equal balance of body paragraph is that it means that when you write your paragraph, when you compose each body paragraph, try to balance them. What it means by the word try to balance them is that try to make sure that each paragraph, have somehow similar length. Like in this one, I say like body paragraph 1 have 5 lines. And then body paragraph 2 have 6 lines or 4 lines, that is possible. But if it's body paragraph 3 have 9 lines, it would be a little bit in balance. So for each paragraph that you have, try to make it, if it's possible, try to make each body paragraph have somehow similar in length. Similar in length. I would not say similar in number of sentence, but similar in length, like the lines, the number of lines. It just shows, the reason for that is that it shows like, because sometimes when some people, when they write, they have like the first body paragraph can be super long and the last paragraph going to be super short. Like the first one have 10 lines and the last paragraph is like 2 lines. And with that, it shows like super unequal, unbalanced of your information. Like the last one, you feel like there is no importance, so that's why it's 2 lines. But some people feel like this is, even though it's not important or not on, if it's not important, but it probably, since you mentioned in your writing, it's worth the time or the writing to explain something for it. So it would be better when you write something, try to balance your information as well. Make sure you have somehow, I would not say the same, but similar in the length of your paragraph. For the length of the paragraph, it can be, again, for each paragraph, I would say like try to have at least 4 sentences. That would be great. 4 sentences, which probably like at least 4 lines. That's the shortest that it can be. At least 4 lines. And however, let's keep your paragraph not longer than 3/4 of a page. Half a page is okay, or 3/4, it's okay. But longer than that would be too long. One paragraph for the whole page. The paragraph that, it lasts 1 page, too long. Try to like cut it, divide it into 2 or 3 would be better. I normally would say like for 1 paragraph, I would not say like the maximum based on my feelings and my experience. I would say the maximum for a paragraph is like half a page or maybe 3/4. That would be okay. But longer than that, just way too long. A long paragraph doesn't mean a good thing. It's like a long sentence doesn't mean a good thing. It's just way too much things to absorb, to digest for the audience. And sometimes when you write a long sentence or a long paragraph, you actually like unintentionally have a lot of ideas include in there, and somehow you might, your idea just scatter around, or there's way too much ideas in there. That's why it's probably better to group them up, to divide them up, and have several paragraphs would be better. Avoid too long paragraph, avoid too long sentence. How to arrange your paragraph. There are several ways, which is first one called chronological. Chronological, it means that you arrange your paragraph, you organize your paragraph based on time. This would fit, this would be appropriate when you discuss, when you talk about a story or history, something like a step process of something. This is like we know like what happened first, what happened next, what happened next. So it's super easy to arrange for those. So whatever happened first, it should be in the first paragraph. What happened last should be located in the last paragraph. So as simple as that. The second one you might not, I'm not sure I'll encounter this a lot, is that you divide your paragraph based on sense. If you write something based on sense, you can divide your paragraph based on sense in terms of sight, touch, taste, smells, and sound. Yes, that's one way. Many times, let's say academically, you might fall under the last category, is that order of importance. Order of importance, you technically you organize your paragraph based on the importance, whatever you feel like the reasons, you feel like the reason or that benefits or that drawback, shows like the strongest reasons or the most convincing reasons. So you might put them at the first one or at the last one. So this is like your choice how you can arrange it. Because at the end of the day, I would say that there's no perfect answer for how to arrange the detail, arrange the information, because it's like definitely depend on the information, on the topics that you're going to write, depend on the controlling ideas. So this is something that you as the author need to decide how you're going to organize, how you're gonna arrange your paragraph. But keep in mind that when you divide your paragraph, when you arrange your paragraph, arrange it or organize it in the way that is easy to read, easy to digest for the audience, because that's what matters. We want our audience to understand it and to feel like, oh, I understand this. I don't have questions. Yeah. It's not confusing. That's when they read. That's the key thing. And transitional words. Let's for one of those paragraph that or main ideas, again, as you have something that link with each other's, or let's say it's in the same category, the same group, yes, you can use one of those time order signals like first, second, third to link one idea to another, to link one benefits to another, first, second, third, or you can go with the transitional words. That's up to you. These words, their time order signal or transitional words, can be used as the sentence starter. Sentence starter, it's mean like you use at the beginning of the sentence. However, words like for and nor, but, yet, so should not, academically formal writing, should not be used as the sentence starter. But yes, it can be used to connect cross, so like in the middle of the sentence, so that's okay. And last but not least, moving next is, so technically for body paragraph, it's just you follow the same structure for all your paragraph. And moving next is the last one, the conclusions. For the conclusion itself, there are two things that you need to write in the conclusion. The first thing is summary. You need to provide summary first. And when you write the summary, we want the specific one. So yes, again, the summary here, when you start write the conclusion, it's going to be something similar to the thesis statement. That's why some people would say that this is like a restatement. rephrase or paraphrase of your thesis statement. However, to avoid having the same exact high or looking sentence, when you summarize, you need to provide the topics and list all of your main ideas. So list the key things that you mentioned in your body paragraph in the summary as well. When you write the summary, you can kind of combine, summarize it into one sentence or divide it into like 1 to 3 sentences. That's up to you, your choice. It doesn't have to be one, but a lot of people definitely go for one, but you can go for 1 to 3. That's up to you. But make sure you summarize everything you mentioned in your body paragraph as well. And another things, and again, to make the summary easy for the audience, and for some of you, it's like maybe you have time constraints and you want to finish your writings and to say that, okay, we are reaching the conclusions. So you start your you start your conclusion with these signal words like all, in brief, in summary, to conclude, to summarize. Make sure you write the correct pair. It have to be to conclude. If it's to conclusion, that would be wrong. It have to be to conclude or in conclusions. Your choice, up to you. These were just simply like give the audience that, and we are reaching the ending. And after these words like all in all, to conclude, it need to be followed by with the comma as well. When it's come to conclusion, when you write an essay or everything, when you write, or let's say anything apart from the research writing, let's say research paper, you can when you want to reach the conclusion, you can just start with this one. But when you read like research paper, you're gonna think that the researcher not often start their conclusion with signal words, because in the research paper, when they reaching the conclusion, they have like headings like saying like conclusions already. That's why when they write the conclusion, they don't say words like in summary. You don't see a lot of that, but maybe some researchers do, but I don't think it needed. If when you write, let's say when you write something and you have a heading or subheading saying like conclusions, so you can ignore having signal word saying something like conclusions. And to make your conclusion not too short in terms of essay writing, because when some people, when they write the conclusion, they just write like a summary, and which is one sentence. One sentence do not count as a paragraph. So with that, we come up with something extra to help you not to have a too short of a conclusion paragraph. So something that you can add in your conclusion paragraph to make it not too short is to add something called final comment. But the final comment here would be optional. So you can choose to have it or not have it. This is your choice. If you have time, if you can come up with something, yes, you can have it. You can write it. For the final comments, normally what you can go for is to write something like advice or warning about the topic that you talk about, that you discussed prior. Advice or warning, suggestions, recommendation, that is everything, that is okay. Suggestions, advice, warning, suggestion, recommendations, everything is okay. But please keep in mind that whatever you provide in the final comment, make sure it is something that is not contradict with what you mentioned in the body paragraph. What I mean is that let's say when you say that in your body paragraph, you talk about positive things about traditional school. So in the ending for the final conclusion, so it should be something that support traditional school or something that positive about traditional school. Since the information prior in the body paragraph, you talk about positive things. It would be better not to go for the opposite sides or something contrast, something that contradicts to the information in your body paragraph. Because if you write something that contradicts, some people might feel like sometimes like when you write an essay, you try to convince your reader to believe in this. But if you end with like, however, this is not always right, say something like that. It raised a question like, so what you have convinced us before in the body paragraph is not exactly reliable or something like that. So yeah, try to, when you write the final comment, try to stick with your point, try to stick with your stand, try to not come up with something that contradict with your positions that you explained earlier in the body paragraph. And try not to introduce a new thing. Since this is a conclusion, it should be something end, finish, complete. So try to just, not introduce new or unrelated ideas as well. So you have a choice of ending the conclusions for the final comments by providing advice, warnings, suggestions, recommendations. In some topic, you can make predictions. Make prediction is say like, okay, based on this topic, I believe in the future it's gonna grow up. Like topics like technology, you can make predictions, something like in the future, this thing gonna be more advanced, this thing gonna be changed, like that. That is prediction. Making educated guess, I would say, important, right? That things possible, it might happen in the future. Next one would be another ways options for the final comment would be give insight or discovery. Give insight or discovery would be mean like if you write something that in your essay you write about a topic that you can relate it to. Again, like a topic like traditional school, because you went to traditional school, so you can share your experience. So that is like, or that is mean what it's mean by insight. You can share your experience. You can say you can provide like, first, based on my opinions, I think this is good, like that. So that would be insights. Or so far, based on what I've seen from the traditional school, it is the best place, this and that. Yeah, you can go with that as well. That would be something you can add in the conclusions. Optional. If you want, yes. If you don't want, just ignore it. It's okay. But try not to have one sentence for the conclusion. One or two, not just one. One sentence, two sentence, way too short. Add something to it. You can do it. And for this, I'm gonna leave it for your take-home homework. We will go through it tomorrow. This is a conclusion paragraph, so simple as that. Just try how, based on the conclusion paragraph, try identify the part, the sentence that shows summary and the sentence that show final comment, as well as answer number 3. The conclusion is end with advice, warning, prediction, or insight. I know you have a lot of to-dos, really. Last, and another one would be this. Yes, I feel like I'm sorry, it's a lot. For this one, it's a complete essay about part-time job, I suppose. Yeah, I think. And what I want you to do again, identify the hook, background, hook, background information, thesis statement. So whatever locates in the intro. And for the body paragraph, identify the topic sentence, and main idea. Topic, sentence, and main idea. Main idea is the thing that is being discussed about that paragraph. For the conclusions, identify the summary and final comment. So which sentence is which this and that, which one is which. So let's have a look, let's have a read, take your time to do it. Identify hook, background information, thesis statement, topic sentence, summary, final comments, and read. Moving to the next one, moving on. So this one is just example of like how you can, when you write, normally when you write essays, often fall into the categories of talking about reasons, type, advantage, disadvantage, quality of features. So just examples, ignore this. And this is example how you can start like reasons, just like the first reason, example, this and that. So I'm gonna remove this. Okay, two things before the end. Yeah. Two things before we reaching the end is that this is the two important things that often mentions in the when they mark the essay is that the topic about unity and coherence. Again, the meaning of unity and coherence, it's mean related. It means something information is related. However, in the writing aspect, unity it means that all ideas in a paragraph unity means when all ideas in a paragraph or in an essay support each other, all ideas. So what is translating that to something more simpler? Unity, it means that when you present the main idea, to explain your topic. All of those main ideas support, relate your topic, related to your topic. So something that is not technically out of the box. When your topic is positive of traditional school, so all of your main ideas should be something like positive of traditional school. So everything needs to be the positive thing. That is what it means about the unities. When the main ideas support, when the details best explain or clearly explain your main ideas, that is unity. Maybe if you have time, but maybe if you don't, this one can be leave for you to do it in class tomorrow. I know there's a lot to go through. This one is the idea of unity. They provide thesis statement for you, two questions, and what you need to do is identify the unrelated one, the unrelated, technically the unrelated main idea, by the reason that is not related to the main ideas based on this. Moving on, another one that is important when you write is coherence. The meaning of coherent is related. However, in the writing, worlds. Coherent, it's mean that when you organize your writings, it's organized in the way that a logical flow, logically flow, or let's say it's being organized, being arranged in the way that easy to understand, easy, simple to understand, not everything spreading, being separate or not grouping together. So whatever relate to each other, you group it together. You organize the details in the way that easy to understand, whatever comfort, whatever like the first thing probably shows in the first paragraph. Whatever is not important, you probably mention like the last thing. So organize your information in the way that easy to read, easy to understand. And again, with coherence, to connect information together, you might use transitional words to help you connect information. And this is just some examples for the coherent. All of these things are the words that you can use as a sentence starter. Like the one that means and is like words like moreover, furthermore, in addition. So you can use to as a sentence starter. For those that mean but, can be words like in contrast, on the contrary, on the other hand, however, although, even though, so all of those things. And this is just like coherence, organized idea, ordering the idea in four coherence. Again, when you organize your idea to make it simple, you might use like time signal order, like first, second, third, or like order of importance to help you organize your details. Whatever most important, like the strong reasons, you might place as the first one, or can be the last one as well. But this would be depend on how you're gonna organize it. This one is like in terms of cohesion. Yeah, we have cohesion. Coherent and cohesion, they are something similar with each other. This for this one, the cohesion, the flow of ideas, but this one is when you I would say that it when probably like when you write your research, when it's come to research writings, sometimes you need to talk about certain things, repeating from the like from explain from about one subject and how it relate with each other. And when you need to link the idea from one sentence to the next, so like this one, you're gonna see that this one is like this, and they talk about like the complete of hierarchical behaviors of something, and this behavior have somehow interrelations. And when you want to further explain about this interrelations, when you shift from interrelation to the next sentence in terms of providing further explanations, instead of repeat the same words, you can use synonyms. Because this one is technically provide further explanations about the relationships, but instead of using the word interrelation, you can go with the word relationships. So synonyms, use synonyms, which is can be new word or phrase. Phrase is like, group of words that present the same meaning. Same words, the same words, the same word. Or you can go with like pronoun, which like this thing, that thing, those, this, that, those, these. So this, that, those, these here. it means something close and far. And for this and that is a singular form. These and those are the plural form. So be careful when you use it. Or when you need to explain about a person. So when you need to explain like the whole paragraph, explain how this person's what she famous of or what he famous of. When you need to explain about a person, so normally when we talk or when we refer to a person, we're gonna refer to that person by their last name. The most appropriate way is to refer to the person by their last name. Another option is that you can refer to another person using their role or occupations. Like this one, Mary Wollstonecraft, let's say she say like feminist movement. So what she famous for. You can refer to this person based on what she's famous for, based on their roles or what their role or occupation, like what they do as a job. And yes, you can refer to the persons based on pronoun, like he, she, they. Yes, we can refer to a person now to like he, she, or they. Yes, some people actually refer themselves as they. Normally, if you read the name, and for some name, I think you can like tell like this is female. So you can say that she, or this is male name, so you can use the word he. However, realistically, that female name, she might not exactly call herself as a female. She might refer herself as male. So with that, that's why as the word changes, the word evolve. Now, even though it's individual, the name, one name, you can refer to that person by say the word they. Like you, instead of she's here, you can refer to Mary Wollstonecraft by call that individuals they. This is the new way. It will feel grammatically wrong, but yes, you can do it because we don't know. Or sometimes when you read like me, if I read German names, I may not sure. I don't sure how to like that person is male or female or maybe another genders that the person prefer. So that's why a safer way would call they. But the easiest way I would say that call the person by their last name. For the other thing, I would say that this is like the other is like for how you connect information together. You can have a read of this, just ignore that. Or like cohesions here, technically, it's just like when you need to connect information from one sentence to another, like connect one sentence to another. When you need to further explain about something, you might go with synonyms, you might go with pronoun, this, that, those, what, where, so you can go with that. But if it's a person's last name, role, pronoun would be more appropriate. But last name would be the easiest one. Last name, not middle name, just the last name. And yeah, and the rest is like for this one, just like moving idea of explaining about something, the idea of about the idea about explaining about this one thing, how they are. This one is just how this person, this woman, you can see like they use the word he to refer to comics, and this one is like combine the first two methods together. But I think everything is kind of all together. Same thing. That would be all. Any questions? Hey. So try to do those practice and we can go through it tomorrow if possible. You don't need to submit them to my email, not yet. This is not assignment, it's just take home homework, just an in-class practice, so no need to submit. That's okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay, you have several. Try to do those if possible. So we can go through it tomorrow. Tomorrow I will start with, we will go through it with the in class homework first, and I will go through the different type of essay, which is gonna be from academic writing too. So don't forget to download the slides from the email as well. Action. Well, my timing is very good. I do try to finish my class by 8:30, so you're not gonna feel so heavy. Anybody have any questions? Very quiet. Okay, mine. Okay. Fine. Okay, that's be all for today. So everybody understand. If you don't have, if you don't sure, ask me, text me. Please text me. And that will be all for tonight. Good night. สวัสดีค่ะ ไปแล้วค่ะ Don't stress out, people. Study with joyness. Wait, I just stop.